right. Good evening, everyone. So at this time, where am I? There we go. All right. So at this time, I'd like to call to order the regular and special board meeting for the Coachella Valley Unified School District. Can we have our student rep lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Good afternoon to all present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, can I get a roll call, please?
President Joey Acuña Jr.
Here.
Vice President Jocelyn Vargas.
Here.
Clerk Silvia Paz. Trinidad Arredondo.
Present.
Adonis Galarza Toledo.
Here.
Valerie Garcia. Jesus Gonzalez. Barbara Hernandez, Student Trustee.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we have a presentation by Desert Mirage High School. Dr. Williams.
Board President, Mr. Cunha, Board Vice President, Ms. Vargas, and Board Trustees. And good evening, Dr. Valentino and Cabinet. Good evening. And tonight we have a wonderful presentation from Desert Mirage High School, the Rams. Let me introduce Ms. Elizabeth Sotelo to the podium here. Principal.
Good evening, everyone. As you know, I'm Elizabeth Sotelo, proud principal at Desert Mirage High School. So thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to share some of the great things that are happening at Desert Mirage High School. I'm going to be introducing some of our great students. They're all seniors. So as I call their names, please come up. With us, we have Jonathan Gomez, Maria Carlos Hernandez, and our trustee, Barbara Hernandez Rebolledo. Each one of them is going to go through some information, some personal insights as to how they feel Desert Mirage High School has helped them throughout their 4 years in high school. So they're all seniors. There we go.
Good evening, board members, and good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Gomez, and I'll be talking about my personal life that I've done in the last 4 years. During COVID, there wasn't really much help for me, especially with sometimes when the Wi-Fi would go out. And thankfully, my following year, when we had returned, they opened up a new room called the Wellness Center, and that's where I got to be more connected with my mentor, Ray Amador. They ended up hiring him for a 3-year contract to be able to help out the school, involving with fights, students that are not doing well, and in general, if anybody needed help with personal life. That year, I got more connected with the program called Palabra. It has helped me in the last year and a half with how I am doing academically. Last year, I wasn't really an academic student. I wasn't really focused, and now I have brought up all my grades, all my credits, and I've already been accepted to 2 of the universities I've applied to. Another program that I'm also in is called Link Crew. It's another program that has been added the last year and a half, where we are role models to the freshmen. In the top right photo, that's one of the days we met up with one of the freshman seminars. We connected with all of them. We separated them from groups away from their friends so they could connect with other freshmen. That day, it was a really good day because they ended up speaking for themselves. They ended up connecting with everyone that was around each stations we had. Another thing that I'm enjoying for my last year in high school is the soccer team. They have taught me to not give up. They have become a second family to me. And thank you to my coach Chavez that has helped me out through this senior year, teaching me valuable lessons that are helping me succeed for my future.
Good evening. My name is Maria Carlos, and I'm a senior at Desert Mirage High School. The first topic I'll be talking about is the migrant program. The migrant program also has a club, which I'm president of. It has helped me find career exploration paths and also has helped me out with Mr. Nava, who is a very helpful, counselor. We also go on various college trips, and they talk about how more about career exploration, and we go and take a tour of the campus, and there's many pictures of them. We also went to a trip to Carolina Island for, I think it was 3 days, and it was like amazing. I know all that water stuff is canceled, but it was a very great experience. I also gave me an opportunity to do an internship this summer, which was a very great experience. I got to work in a Head Start, and it was like an amazing experience. I got to work with teachers, which I aspire to be a teacher. For my second topic, it's theater. I've been in theater for 3 years. There's a lot of plays that go on, and it helps with teamwork, as well as they help with mock interviews and speeches, because that was also one of our finals where we do interviews or a speech in front of the whole class. It's very interactive and ongoing, and it helps us be more together, as a whole class. And we also work with other classes that she has. We do plays during class periods, which is really cool, and we get to work on them after school too, where family gets to go and join and see what's going on, what their kids do during school. My third topic would be color guard, which is also teamwork and competitions. All the pictures on the bottom is color guard. Those are, I think that was our senior night, and it was it helps a lot with teamwork, and I'm a very competitive person, so competitions is one of my favorites. And yeah, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Hernandez. I come today as Executive President of the Associative Student Body to introduce the involvement and performance of ASB in the DMHS campus. My highlights today are activities, community building, and leadership. Among the activities that we focus on the most are the activities that bring all of our school together. Among these, you can find pep rallies, dances that we put a lot of effort into. We work a lot of innovation. Currently, we're working on facilitating the access to ASB store and to see what ASB is doing through a website. We're going to be posting, it's still a work in progress, but it's something that's happening right now. A website that is focused simply on ASB and will give access to the community, as well as we're trying to implement a new app that will facilitate the use and exchange of dance tickets or being able to pay your senior package so students don't have to be going out of class to try to do their payments. We also work a lot on spirit building. Our spirit building consists of whenever we have our student senior nights for their teams, we go out and we make their posters. We are very big on our spirit weeks. As you can tell in our pictures, we have a couple. These are some of the things that are more simple for our students to participate in and that occur also throughout the day. So it's always easier to simply be wearing something to show your spirit for others and for your community in general. For community building, we can also see that we have our traditional festivals. This year, our most successful one, as in most of our years, is always our Dia de los Muertos festival, where we always have food and we have interactions with all of our clubs and all of our sports, not just ASB, which is something that I personally enjoy a lot, and I know that is something that our students enjoy a lot, that we are able to have collaboration of everyone rather than just our ASB students. We also have our generational traditions. Right now, our seniors are working on their quads, and we have our juniors working on the prom fashion show, who are the ones that usually set up everything for that year. And of course, with all of this, we have our leadership building. Recently, we had the opportunity this past November to take a couple of our ASB students to a conference in the Disneyland Hotel conventions. And we were able to experience being able to learn from other schools from the state of California. And it was really nice because we got to see and to visualize what we would like to implement in our ASB in the future, as well as we were giving trainings as to how do you become more involved with your community. Since these past years, we've been struggling a little bit with school spirit. We've noticed that it's gone down a little bit, but we're doing really well. It keeps on going up with time. And we're really happy that we had that opportunity. And among these is also the fundraising that goes on with all grade levels, because all of our activities come also through the hard work of our students that fundraise for these to happen. Thank you.
There we go. So for the last one, I just wanted to make sure what's coming up next. Save the date, April 24th, 2024. Desert Mirage High School is celebrating 20 years. I know that in the year 2003, 2004, that was the first year it opened. So we are working, we had our first meeting, we had a committee, we created a committee, and we're gonna be making a huge celebration of the 20 years Desert Mirage High School has been open. It's gonna be open to our community. We wanna invite our board members and any alumni, bring guest speakers. And this is a great opportunity to bring, obviously, parent involvement, getting our community and everybody there to see how much we have done, right, since it started to now. So it's not only a celebration for Desert Mirage High School, but I know it's K-12. They all opened the same year. It just happens that Desert Mirage High School is taking the lead with teachers, students, parents to actually do a celebration. So please save the date, April 24th. Some of the senior activities that are coming up, obviously, right? We have the senior Disney trip, which I will be going to. So we'll see on that one. Prom fashion show, prom, college signing day, and then Universal Grad Bash, and then obviously senior sunset and graduation. So these are some of the activities that are coming up. Let me see, this is all for us. If you have any questions for students, let us know.
Any board members have any comments or questions, especially the alumni from Desert Mirage over there?
Yeah, we're gonna be reaching out to some of you to be guest speakers.
It was just exciting, good work. Happy to see all the upcoming events. Congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just see that you brought Ray Amador, who works in the Wanted Center. So I just wanted to see if he had a few words for us on how his experience has been working in the Wanted Center, being that the students mentioned him. So,
Ray, would you like to come? And if you know, like I try to bring Brett students that, obviously, right, we have our trustee, but we also have students who are right in the middle who are also successful, right? Not just the students that are always on the top, but students who are, like in this case, Jonathan, who's struggling, but through the Wellness Center, through Ray, he was able to pick up his grades. I mean, and he's just an amazing kid now, just being a leader. Then we also have one of our migrant students as well, who's very involved. So thank you for noticing that. I did want to bring in a representation of our school and who we are. So hopefully you were able to see that today. And I'll let Ray talk a little bit about the work that we've been doing. And if you haven't seen our video, we were on national TV on the Wellness Center. So if you haven't seen that, then I recommend you do see it.
Well, thank you. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for the opportunity, for everybody that brought and make this happen at the Wellness Center and bringing in the mentors. It's been a pleasure. It's been an excitement to see the work that we're doing and what it does and how it's working. This young man right here himself came to me and pretty much gave up and just said, I'm just done. I'm going through a lot. Came back from the pandemic, was just mentally really hurt and just didn't know what to do. And just mentoring and talking to him, and not only him, but there's many stories that we can bring and tell you about. We don't have the time, of course, but he's just a great example of the work that we're doing. And it's not only me, it's the whole team of Ms. Sotelo and the principals, teachers, the Wellness Center, um, the people that work, the snack, the food, everybody. It's not just one person. And that's what's great about Desert Mirage, that we're all a team and we help and support each other. So, but yeah, this young man right here came and now he's got 3 schools that he's got accepted to, that he can pick where he wants to go. And it's a great thing. Put his grades from F's to A's and B's and passing. And so those are just little things that I say little because I just love the work that I do. For many people, it's great things. For me, it's a natural thing. That's just me. I'll help anybody I can that I run into. But there again, thank you guys for the opportunity, and we're going to keep working hard to make our communities better. We're always shown that we're the bad people. Well, no, there's a lot of good stuff that's happening, and people need to know that. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Any other question before we?
Just wanted to say thank you for Maria's experience with Migrant Ed. I really appreciated kind of seeing this programming and the activities, and thank you for bringing us kind of different perspectives from TIA.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Nope. Other than thank you guys. We know we usually get the blame or the credit for stuff that you guys are all doing. So we'll take the blame, but you guys certainly deserve the credit. So thank you very much for all your work.
Thank you for having us. Have a good night.
All right, next up, a little bit of recognitions. Dr. Williams.
All right, now it's time for our fall sports recognition. So first up, we're going to introduce the athletic director, Jason Castillo, and he's going to introduce the girls golf team for their success this year.
Good evening. Thank you guys for having us again. Again, like I always tell you, it's our pleasure to be here. I always feel welcome. I know a lot of you guys, so thank you very much. To the board members, cabinet, and superintendent, thank you guys. So I would first want to say that this girls golf team has done an amazing job. The past 4 years in a row, they've been DVL champs. The past 2 years in a row, they've been undefeated seasons. And 4 of our starting 6 girls, you get 6 girls that compete every game, every match. 4 of them were all league this year. So they've done an amazing job. And I just want to recognize each one of them. I'm going to start off with first our 10th graders. So Alison Villaseñor, go ahead and head up to the front. We have Kitsia Vargas. We have Sarah McNutt. Amarani Molina. Haley Balbuena. Now we have one of our all-league participants and players. We have Anaí Moran, 10th grade. We have one of our senior captains, another all-league player, Julissa Felix. And last but not least, we have our 2023 MVP of the league and 3 years all DVL, Ms. Hema Gonzalez. Oh, sorry, 4 years. She's always quick to make sure I say the right things about her, so she has no filters. So I'm glad. But these young ladies they compete in one of the hardest divisions in our league. They're out there in the summertime playing 110-degree heat, So it's not just because you're playing girls golf doesn't mean anything. It's a hard sport. They're working hard at 110. It's hot, just like football. Same thing. They're working in the same heat, and they're out there and they give it everything every time. Okay, so I just want to recognize these young ladies. Good job, girls. Oh, yeah, 16. I've told you 2 years in a row undefeated. See how she is? That's exactly how she is every day, every day. Hey, but as much as she is like that, I'm gonna miss her because they're all seniors, and I got to know these young ladies like really well, and it's been a pleasure to watch them grow up and become the young women they are. So I just want to present them to you guys, and I'm proud of them.
Thank you. Congratulations. Board.
You guys want to take a picture with the young ladies? Yes, sir. Good job, girls. So next up, I would like to introduce our head football coach, Coach Johnson, and to have a little few words about our run during CIF playoffs.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for having me, and thank you to Coach Castillo for introducing. And also, we're so proud of the girls golf team for how well they did this year and how well they've been doing over the last couple of years. I'm here to talk about the football program, and I want to say a few things about some of the successes that we have had, because there's different types of highs that we've expressed. First of all, the football program this year. In spite of we had a lot of situations where we had to cancel games because there was the flooding at the field, and then there was the lightning at Xavier Prep, which Xavier Prep seemed very happy. As soon as we scored, they were very happy to kind of cancel that game. Oh, wait, go. No, there's lightning. You guys go home. CV, go home. So, they were happy to play us while they were up, but as soon as we scored a touchdown, all of a sudden, the lightning was too much. What was very fascinating and a great thing for us is that we got a chance to find and meet up with a program in Las Vegas, Nevada, and travel all the way to Las Vegas, Nevada to play El Dorado High School, a team that did go to the semifinals in Nevada 4A football. We beat them after a 5-hour drive all the way on a charter bus out to Las Vegas. So that was one of the early highlights that really helped to prepare us and our young men to perform in difficult situations. Cut to the playoffs. The last time Coachella Valley High School football went to the semifinals was in the mid-1960s until 2023. The 2023 Mighty Arabs went all the way to the semifinals, defeating South El Monte at home in the first round, and then a very, very challenging Don Lugo team in the quarterfinals at Don Lugo. So we were very proud of the win that we had there. Absolutely. Along the way, a lot of records were broken. Not only was that the advancement of the team, but also this year, Aaron Ramirez, our running back, was recognized now being the all-time leading rusher at Coachella Valley High School. And we had a really wonderful kind of pass the baton ceremony. Yes. Aaron also eclipsed the Coachella Valley High School record for touchdowns in a career. He had 2,500 yards rushing this year. He's got about 4,500 yards rushing, I think, in total. He could actually graduate with 100 touchdowns under his career in his 4 years at CV. What was also which is great, is our recognitions here in the Valley. The All Desert Sun team is a team of, or an all-star kind of cast that the Desert Sun puts together for the best athletes in the Coachella Valley. We had 5 athletes, including Aaron, recognized by the All Desert Sun team. He was the Offensive Player of the Year in the All Desert Sun team this year. So that was exciting as well. Possibly one of the things that I felt strongly about, because I got a chance to go to the all CIF meeting and have a conversation and kind of pitch the successes of our student athletes here in our district at our school. And we were able to get 6 players voted onto the all CIF team this year. Francisco Ferrat, Marco Ceja, Mikey Rodriguez, Aaron Ramirez, Ray Pena, and as well, Aaron Ramirez was also voted, and this is, I don't know how long it's been since we've had this. He was the All CIF Offensive Player of the Year for CIF this year in Division 12. So. We're excited about things to come. The great thing about that team is that many of them were juniors and sophomores. So many of those players are returning next year. We didn't win the league title this year. We'd won it the previous 3 years. Yucca Valley got us this year. It's okay. I congratulated that coach after the game. We look forward to seeing him next year. But we're looking forward to reclaiming the DVL crown and making another deep run in the playoffs. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Coach. Again, thank you guys. Appreciate you for your time, and we will pass the baton back to Dr. Williams.
Next, we also have a very exciting honor. It's the Academic Excellence Award. CIF puts the teams that have a 3.5 and above GPA as an average. They put them as, they honor them with academic excellence. And we have a team this year for the fall. We hopefully will have some in the winter and the spring. But in the fall, we have the West Shores girls volleyball team that averaged 3.6 in their GPA. So these are true scholar athletes. So I have Dr. Josh DeFeo to talk about the team.
Thank you. Mr. Acuna and fellow board members, Dr. Valentino and members of the executive board, parents, community members, students, it's with great pleasure that I introduce and acknowledge our Lady Cats volleyball team. They were recognized by the CIF San Diego section as an all-academic team with a combined GPA, as Dr. Williams mentioned, of 3.6. I have one representative here, Liliana Soto, as part of our volleyball team. She had actually you had above a 4.0 because she got all A's in part of her schedule, or her schedule was, let's see, AP Spanish Lit, Avid, Art 2, English 3, Chemistry, what else did I forget? Math 3, and her Race and Genders honors course. So we're really excited, and this is kind of the typical schedules for a lot of our Lady Cat volleyball team. We couldn't be more proud of their dedication to their team, their school, and their academic excellence. They are the pride of West Shores Middle High School community and of CVUSD, and we're very excited for them. They do a wonderful job. Thank you.
Don't go away. We got to take a picture.
We got pictures.
Since you didn't talk, we're going to make you take a picture. Yeah. Is that all? No more? No. You want more? All right, moving along with our meeting, we have closed session public comments. Do we have any?
We have two for closed session,
Are they written or in person?
written
Okay.
electronically. You
Go ahead.
ready? Um, Good evening, Board President and board members. Speaking for the confidential group, which consists of under 20 employees, we have no union representation for negotiations. We would like to request the same 7% raise you are giving other employees. Please consider our confidential group for the 7% raise. Thank you. Confidential employee. I am one of 19 classified confidential employees who are unrepresented. We are a tiny group compared to others. We are hardworking individuals who would like to be considered for the totality of the cost of living increase of 7.44%. Our group is not asking for reclassifications, reorganizations, benefit increases, or stipends, and we don't have personal growth incentives for having educational units or degrees. The cost of living increase of 7.44% is the total amount offered to both bargaining units. That's all.
Thank you. Okay, seeing nothing else. At this time, I'd like to have a motion to enter into closed session. Into recess into closed session to discuss items 4.1 through 4.5 on the regular agenda, as well as item 2.1 on the special board agenda. Can I get a motion? Motion. There a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee? Okay, we will be back at, what time do we have scheduled? Huh? Around 7:15. Okay, thank you, guys.
yet. It wasn't a priority.
All right, we're back. I apologize. We had a motion to enter into open session. We had, I believe it was Mr. Gonzalez. We had a second by Board Member Garcia. And at this time, to go into open session, no announcements coming out of closed session. And at this time, we'll adjourn the special board meeting and continue with the regular board meeting agenda. All right. Okay, so can I have a motion for approval of the agenda as submitted? Second, a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Oh, I'm sorry, student trustee? Aye. Thank you very much. Moving on, item 6. Huh? Okay. Sorry. Item 6, public comments, open session. 6.1, board notification, request to address the board. So I do know we have some. So let me read my little thing here. Introductory comments and requests to address the board on items on the adopted agenda and items not on the adopted agenda will be considered from the audience at this time. Please complete a request to address the governing board form. Hand it in to the recording secretary. The online forms submitted electronically will be read. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject matter. Additionally, the person making the request should state his or her name and the organization or group represented. Please be advised that the board is not always at liberty to answer questions right away. State law prohibits the board from taking any action on items not listed on the agenda. So I have a few here. I believe they're all for the same thing. So I will start. Try to get all the ones for the same thing. We'll go through there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll call your name, and then when the first speaker is done, and then I'll actually call the second person's name so you guys can get ready and kind of get in line, and we can kind of go through this faster. Again, we have about 20 minutes, but everyone who's actually physically here will get an opportunity to speak. If we have time left over, we'll look at the written comments. If not, we will get copies to the board, and they'll be submitted for the record as well. That sound okay with everybody? Good? Okay. We're going to start with, we'll start with Perla Panadler. She can go first. And then after, we're going to have Natalia Lopez will go after her.
Hello? Okay, it's on. Good evening, President Acuña and Board of Trustees. My name is Perla Penauber, and I'm a high school teacher at Coachella Valley High School. I'm also the Young Women Empowerment Advisor. The Young Women Empowerment organization empowers high school students to advocate for human rights, equality, and universal education in their community and around the world. In the past 5 years, our organization has built a movement of informed advocates and a new generation of leaders for social change. I am here today to ask for your support with this very important health measure for menstrual equity. In 2020, some of our students saw a need for menstrual products in their community, and they did a product drive for the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission. During the pandemic, COVID-19 really put a big impact on the most vulnerable, the poor. And these were people that had to choose between buying food or buying menstrual products. As the students returned back to school in 2021, they saw that same need in their school. And they started to advocate for that. That summer in 2022, I had 2 students who went to the ACLU Youth Institute for Advocates. They came back. They learned a lot about law and policy, and they brought back the AB 367. As of 2022, we started to advocate. They did everything they could in their power to educate the students on campus, their presentations. They did tabling events. They did more period product drive, and they even included those products into bins where we put them throughout the campus in about 16 classrooms, and we kept stocking them up. So lo and behold, we finally, a few months later, fast forward, we get one menstrual dispenser installed on campus in one of our bathrooms. And it was just really exciting to see some change. However, as months went on and we came back, it just continued to be not consistent with, one, the law, and 2, not being restocked regularly. We're going to be asking to be put on the agenda to present some of the data we gathered with Planned Parenthood, so we can kind of share with you guys the need to have menstrual products, and also comply with the law that states a list of guidelines to make sure that we do have menstrual products throughout the campus. And we hope to kind of get your support on that. Brought some of our students here who would like to share some more information. So I hope you give them the time to hear their stories and the work they've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, up next, Natalia Lopez, and then after that is going to be Christopher Bravo Lopez. That'll be next one up.
Hello? Hello, Board of the Trustee, President Joy Acuña. My name is Natalia Lopez, and I am a junior at Coachella Valley High School. And after learning about my rights under the Measurement Equity for All Act, I became concerned about what I see in our school restrooms. I am a peer young advocate with Planned Parenthood and an officer with Young Women Empowerment. I first got involved through the period product drive in 2022 and helped my peers access basic hygiene supplies when they could not rely on the school with AB 367 had just been introduced. Being a part of the Health Academy and an advocate has helped me become knowledgeable on the effects of lack of period products, and as well as hands-on for women's health by not having accessibility in the restrooms. For example, women not having access to period products, not only does it affect attendance at school or work, but even participation in other aspects such as sports and other daily life activities. It increases the risk of infections and the harsh of pain and embarrassment women go through if they stain themselves. As a student, I faced difficulties finding menstrual products during school hours. Many students share similar experiences with period disturbing class time and sometimes require payment for products. The Menstrual Equity for All Act of 2021 in California mandates free menstrual products in public schools from grades 6 to 12 by the 2022 through 2023 school year. We need to support to enforce this act, ensuring all students have access to these essential products and eliminating the shame and discomfort associated with menstruation, as it's required by state law and it's not being followed through. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Again, Christopher Bravo Lopez, and then after that is going to be Paula Renteria.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Christopher. I'm a senior student at Coachella Valley High School. I'm here on behalf of the Young Women Empowerment. I'm actively supported menstrual equity through the Young Women Empowerment Club. Our efforts include surveys, educating peers on their rights, and collaborating with the administrators for the Menstrual Equity for All Act. Despite our dedication, we face denials to present our findings at 2 prior meetings. I'm here today to request an opportunity to share our insight to advocate for compliance with state law. I urge the board to recognize our sustained advocacy and consider our proposal. Your acknowledgement of students' time and commitment to this cause is crucial. Despite the possibility of the board overlooking our input, as a united community, we remain steadfast in our pursuit until our concerns are recognized and menstrual products are readily accessible in women's restrooms. It's disconcerting that female teenagers often have to advocate for and fight to access menstrual products. It's a basic necessity, not a luxury. And as adults, it's embarrassing that this issue persists. Thank you for your time and attention. I anticipate a chance to return to the board meeting soon.
Thank you. Is it Renteria? And then up next will be Abigail Salazar.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Paula Rentería y soy estudiante del nivel 11 de Coachella Valley High School. Soy parte del Club Empoderamiento de las Mujeres Jóvenes. Vengo a hablar sobre el tema de los productos menstruales en la escuela. Pedimos en todos los baños productos y no solo en un baño o en el más frecuente. Hacemos esto porque queremos que todas las mujeres se sientan cómodas cuando estén en la escuela y que tengan toallas sanitarias, porque hay un 95% de mujeres que se sienten incómodas en la escuela durante su periodo. Si bien no todas dejan de ir a la escuela durante su periodo menstrual, más del 35% falta al colegio todos los meses durante todos los días. La situación ha llegado muy lejos que hasta los maestros tiran productos menstruales, ya que en los baños no hay, pero aún así, ¿qué pasaría si estás menstruando en la escuela? Y necesitas productos, pero los maestros no tienen y en los baños no hay. Por eso las mujeres prefieren faltar a clases que sentirse avergonzadas. Queremos que las mujeres se sientan más seguras en una situación, que no lo miren como un problema, que lo miren como lo que es, algo natural. Y por ser natural, las toallas sanitarias y tampones son algo indispensable para la vida de una mujer. Por eso estamos insistiendo y seguiremos insistiendo hasta lograr que nuestro esfuerzo no sea en vano, que necesitamos productos menstruales en los baños. Queremos que los productos menstruales sean fáciles de encontrar siempre y no solo en algunas ocasiones. Sabemos que no es fácil este proceso, pero queremos correr el riesgo y que esta vez podamos lograr tener respuesta de su parte. Pero ustedes también deben saber que no es fácil no tener toallas sanitarias y mucho menos sentirnos incómodas por algo normal. Así como encontramos agua, papel higiénico, así queremos encontrar toallas sanitarias y tampones. Quiero sentirme segura, pero también quiero productos menstruales. Muchas gracias por su atención y comprensión.
And next will be Chloe Lowe.
Hello there, my name is Abigail Salazar, and I'm a freshman at Coachella Valley High School, as well as a freshman representative in the Young Women's Empowerment Club. I'm a firsthand witness of administration not being in compliance with the Menstrual Equity Act. The dispensers in our school are being inconsistently stocked, with no notices informing us who to contact in case there are none. In my school, only 2 out of the 8 restrooms contain working dispensers, and 1 is not accessible to students due to it being locked for a majority of the day. The Menstrual Equity Act requires that there are dispensers in all women's restrooms and 1 in men's. I personally was on my period when both bathrooms that provided menstrual products were locked. There are 7 hours in a school day, and in all those hours, I was walking around with a bloodstain on my pants. The embarrassment that I felt is one that you cannot imagine if never experienced. I blame the school for what happened that day, and I'm not the only one. Please give us your time to allow us to present the poor implementation that Coachella Valley High School is performing. Thank you for your time.
And then after that, we'll have Daniela Estrada.
Hello, my name is Chloe Lowell, and I'm a community organizer with Planned Parenthood Action Fund of the Pacific Southwest. I would like to urge the board to allow all of the students that are here today to give public comment on the pressing issue of menstrual products access at their school to be heard. These students have waited outside for over 2 hours to speak with you all today, in part due to a lack of respect in their repeated requests to present to you all on these very matters. It is your duty as trustees to hear the issues your students have faced. And I would also urge you to read every e-comment that was submitted for this meeting for the same reasons. If these students and community partners have waited nearly 2 years to finally get attention on menstrual product accessibility at CVUSD, you all can extend your meeting time today to listen to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Ms. Estrada.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniela, and I am a senior at Coachella Valley High School. As you're aware of, AB 367, also known as the Menstrual Equity Act, clearly states that period products should be accessible in every restroom on school campus. But CV does not meet the requirement because there is only 1 accessible menstrual dispenser to all students at CV, which is rarely ever stocked. And I am here to share how it impacts students' learning and emotional well-being. We have 1 menstrual dispenser out of 4 restrooms. This became an issue for me when I was on my period on September of 2023. I needed to use the restroom during lunch to change my pad. The lunch students aren't allowed to go into the restroom because they aren't meant for students that were in class, and not allowed on the other side of campus. I asked Ms. Young, which is our dean, if I was able to use the main restroom, which is the only main restroom that had a menstrual product dispenser. And she asked if it was an emergency. And she refused to let me go. And I said I really needed to use the restroom. And she refused, saying, go to the lunch area. And I thought there was gonna be a pad in there, you know, but the restroom did not have any. And once again, I went to Ms. Young begging that I needed to go to the main restroom. She replied in an annoyed tone, I was not allowed to go. So I whispered to her ear, I need to use the main restroom because I had gone back and forth and could not get access to a pad. She finally saw my urgency to go and sent me to the health office. At this point, I had already stained myself. And I knew that I was walking around with a big red period stain on my pants. And at this point, I knew there was a point of no return. I would have to go home and miss my classes. And yes, you can imagine the emotions I was feeling. It was mixed of anger, frustration, humiliation, embarrassment too. And I walked around campus with a red stain. I think you guys could imagine that too. Now, every month, I don't feel comfortable going to school because of my experience, knowing that I may not find menstrual products in the restroom and how the staff mishandled the situation. I was left traumatized from the incident. That's when when I know I am getting my period, I miss school because I have a fear of not having access to period products. And it's really starting to affect my attendance because I miss school or I leave school early and I have a heavy flow period. And now, like, really imagine it. What if your mom, your sister, your daughter went through exactly what I went through? It's unimaginable. And no student should miss school because they don't have access to menstrual products. The board needs to address the need to help menstruating students and have period products in all the restrooms all the time. Listen to our needs. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a little bit of time. Would you please read 2 or 3 of them till we get to our 20 minutes, and then the rest of them will be submitted to the board, and then they'll be published for the record.
Got it. Guadalupe Quintero from the Felix Young Women Empowerment Club. The Menstrual Equity for All Act, or AB 367, requires that every women's and all gender restroom and at least one men's restroom always have an adequate supply of free menstrual products, as well as clear and visible notices with an email or number to contact to ensure menstrual products are stocked. Students with the Young Women's Empowerment Club at Coachella Valley High School have recently reported to their administration that only 2 CV High School restrooms have menstrual products dispensers. Students have reported the 2 dispensers are filled sporadically, and there are currently no visible notices for students to contact about regular restocking. To date, the school administration has failed to provide the students with an adequate plan of action for a path to compliance with state law. I ask that the CVUSD board recognize the sustained efforts of their students and respect their proposal to present on noncompliance within their school at the next public board meeting. Coachella Valley High School students with the Young Women's Empowerment Club have been advocating for the full implementation of Menstrual Equity for All Act, or AB 367. After nearly 2 years of meetings with administration, conducting surveys, pursuing school-wide education efforts, and even collecting pads and tampons themselves, they still do not have reliable access to period products in their school restrooms. I ask that the CVUSD board recognize the sustained efforts of their students and respect their proposal to present their findings at the next public board meeting during open session. Dear CVUSD board, please make our voices heard. Please make this something you prioritize, because this is something that matters much more than most of the things on your agenda. This is something that you should have done over 2 years ago. Me and my peers have been working together to hopefully implement the Menstrual Equity for All Act. With the Young Women Empowerment Club, we've been surveying our peers along with our community. We've also met with some of our administrators to ask for a plan to comply with the act. I've known girls who have had to use a bathroom and there weren't any menstrual products available, myself included. It isn't fair that half the time the only way I have to access to these products is through my teachers who buy said products with their own paycheck. I should be getting them for free. Please put us on the next board meeting agenda so that girls like me don't have to miss school in fear of staining themselves, or so that teachers don't have to pay out of pocket to kindly provide for their students. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I look forward to seeing a plan be made. Nailea Sosa, Young Women Empowerment Club. My name is Nailea and I am a senior student at Coachella Valley High School. I am here regarding needing menstrual products in our restrooms. We have worked for many months struggling for our school to refill the menstrual product dispenser, and they have not gotten to it. It is very important that we are able to have access to menstrual products in every of our restrooms. We're excited to be able to talk to you about this more and hope to see you at the next district board meeting. Genevieve Rivera, Young Women Empowerment Club. My name is Genevieve Rivera. I am a senior student at Coachella Valley High School. After learning about my rights under the Menstrual Equality for All Act, I've noticed that many of our student bathrooms are not being stocked with menstrual products or don't even have a menstrual product dispenser. This is a law, so it should be mandatory. We shouldn't have to keep fighting for something so simple because period products are not a luxury. Thank you for your time and attention. Daniela Rubio, Young Women Empowerment Club. My name is Daniela Rubio. I'm writing this to once again bring up the constant struggle that students here at Coachella Valley High School have to face every day. The struggle of having to find period products in our school. We have been reaching out to the board for nearly 2 years now, and our voices are not being heard. There have been countless times where I have to ask my friends, classmates, and teachers for pads when I don't find any in our school restrooms. Going to the office or being directed to go somewhere else just to get period products shouldn't be something that me or any other student should have to go through. I also play sports here at CV High School, and I've been to many away games where all restrooms in these schools have period products available. They are always full and working. All we ask is to have some of the same resources that other schools have, because once again, period products are a necessity, not a luxury. Mayali Rodriguez, the staff need to start understanding the situation of students and start filling menstrual products into the restrooms, because we count on the school for these things and yet we don't have the products. Liana Augustus, Menstrual Equality for All. Coachella Valley High School students with the Young Women's Empowerment Club have been advocating for the full implementation of the Menstrual Equity for All Act, or AB 367. After nearly 2 years of meetings with administration, conducting surveys, pursuing school-wide education efforts, and even collecting pads and tampons themselves, they still do not have reliable access to period products in their school restroom. I asked the CVUSD board recognize the sustained efforts of their students and respect. Sharina Carbajal, Menstrual Equity for All Act. I urge CVUSD board to swiftly address claims of noncompliance with state law at Coachella Valley High School concerning menstrual product access on public school campuses. Students in the Young Women's Empowerment Club at CV High School have been advocating for their right to free and accessible menstrual products for 2 years, to little avail. Research shows that compliance with the Menstrual Equity for All Act, or AB 367, would increase attendance, student well-being, and engagement in the classroom. We need to trust and listen to research and our students when it comes to health equity. Please ensure these students can present their findings of noncompliance at CV High School at the next board meeting during open session. Thank you.
Is that the last one?
No, there's more.
How many more do we have?
Gosh, probably like 10 pages.
Okay, well, those will be sent to all the board, well, all of them will be sent to all the board members, and then we'll do that. We did our 20 minutes, so we
I'll
tried to
send
get
them
in
to
as
you.
many as we could, so.
Okay, thank
They'll
you.
be part of the record. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Acuna, could I get, I had no idea, I was joking with my daughter in the back, I had no idea why the students and the teacher were here. And so let me apologize, because I was joking with her about some other stuff. But Dr. Sparsa, I know this was brought to my attention a week ago, Mayela, a couple weeks ago maybe. And could we speak to what we're doing so that as we put the rest of the message into the record, that they know that this isn't falling on deaf ears and that we're aggressively addressing this very important issue?
Mayela, if you could, it's your department, so you need to address it.
Yes, so we did, I was forwarded an email. We are listening. We are actively trying to fix the dispensers that have been broken. We're trying to put out the message to make sure that you all know that if the dispensers are not working, the health office and all of the offices at CV High School have the products with them. So you are always welcome to go there. And there's, I believe, restrooms in those office areas that you can also use. We are going to install them in all of the restrooms and in men's restroom, which is what we are working on right now. The gentleman in the back that got up right now is Victor Abastida. He's a supervisor for the custodial team. He's in charge of putting all this together. So it's know that we are listening and that we are moving forward with making sure that we have them everywhere. And we have established a process where the custodians at the sites, so the sites will order them directly. We don't, you know, as long as they're available, they can order them and have them in stock. So Victor will make sure that they are stocking them daily.
Some of the, well, first, thank you to Ms. Penalbre and the Young Women's Empowerment Club members. I was gonna wait until my public comments, but they might leave. So I just want you to know that it's very brave to be talking as a young woman about menstrual cycles. So thank you, I appreciate you for doing that. And I also heard, however, that where our students are allowed to go to the restrooms is restricted. And I don't think that any woman should have to announce to the world if they don't want to, whether they're on their days or they're not on their days. And it seems that that's what they're being asked to do. So I know I see Dr. Esparza ready, since you do oversee the principals, but I would like it so that our young women shouldn't feel like they have to disclose if maybe they don't feel comfortable, right? Like they should be able to go to the restroom and find what they need.
Thank you. Thank you again, Ms. Penalber. We did receive your email, and for the past few weeks, we have been working with our administrators to make sure that there's access to restrooms. Of course, we do have a little bit of rain here and there. It causes some flooding, and so some restrooms have been closed for that, but they should be tagged for that. So our students should be able to know where to go. So we will continue to work with our administrators to make sure that our students are able to have access to all restrooms that are available, and making sure that, again, that our partnership with the CBO and myself are working to make sure that the products are in all restrooms.
Any other board members have any comments? Go ahead.
Thank you all for coming here. I'm sad to hear that it took so many tries for you to be able to address us. Thank you for taking the time, though. We absolutely hear you. I'm dismayed to hear that you have had to be put in these situations where you feel embarrassed. This is a barrier to your education, and that's certainly not something that we want to have. This is a right and certainly law, so we want to be in compliance. It sounds like there are plans for that. So we just want to make sure that it's clear, so that, because it definitely sounds like there's misinformation. We don't want anyone to have that. So if it can be in the announcements in the morning, you know, so that it's very clear to everyone, however it is that they disseminate to the schools, so that you all know where to go. Because it sounded like not only is it the dispensers not being available, but the restocking, right? So as long as you know who to talk to remedy it, it sounds like there are products, but if you don't know how to access them, then that's as good as them not being there, right? So thank you so much. This is excellent. Thank you to your advisor and to the organizer from Planned Parenthood for empowering our young ladies to speak up for themselves. Thank you so much. This is very important. Again, we do not want to have these barriers to your education. We certainly want you to feel like this is a safe place for you to continue. So yeah, just clear information for the schools so that the students know where to go. Thank you so much.
Yes, as my colleagues, I really appreciate you all coming to today's meeting and just sharing your experiences. I feel like, you know, what Trustee Paz kind of mentioned, I think one thing is for us to be in compliance, and I think the other piece is definitely like the culture and the stigma around you know, having those conversations. I mean, I know in my home, it's not a conversation at the dinner table, right? So I think there's also kind of a piece of like, let's not, I don't know, there's something around like, yeah, like you mentioned, you know, having to force our students to disclose something that maybe they don't want to, right? But I think we also need to trust our students. And it's not the first time that we've had conversations around, you know, locking the bathrooms, right? And not trusting our students with their own bodies. And so, I don't know, I feel like there's a piece there with our own, you know, staff that we maybe need to also kind of have a conversation around. I want to make sure that I mean, I like to hear the data that they collected, because I think sounds like maybe the surveys might also kind of shed light to maybe some of those things, those pieces. So I would love to hear the presentation at a board meeting, to really hear kind of their perspectives around this issue. And I know we're working on it to address it, and I'm hoping that it's also, we're looking at the other side. I know that they're bringing the concerns at CV High School, but I think looking at it at our other locations is important too. But thank you all.
Any other board members, the school trustee, or you want to share? I'll get you next.
I would just like to say that I deeply relate to everything you're saying, but I do want to point out that I do really appreciate the effort that our teachers often do to step out of their way and get these products for ourselves, because I feel like we rely more on the teachers that we feel comfortable with than the administration, even though at least in Desert Mirage High School where I go to school, I know that I can always feel safe to go to the nurse's office, but sometimes it's more of that comfortability of who do I feel more comfortable with my teacher that I see every day and that I know is there to support me, or with the administration nurse. But then again, I don't think that should come out of the pocket of our teachers.
I don't thank you all for coming to the board to discuss this. I think it's, I assume that we were just offering menstrual products at our high schools and that we had them accessible to students. But I would also like to hear the presentation, but also a presentation on our facilities and whether our restrooms and the upkeep of our restrooms there at Coachella Valley High School, because I know it's a large high school, and whether we need to you know, retrofit some of our restrooms with dispensers, and what restrooms are accessible for students that are there. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to commend you all for coming out and making your voices heard. We heard you all, we listened, and I think from what I'm hearing, we're all in support of what you all are here for. So thank you all for coming and raising your voice and making your voices heard. Very admirable. Thank you.
Any other, Roger? Dr. Valentino, I need to add something.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Acuna. I had connected with Ms. Penalbar about the presentation, and that it would be great to see the presentation at the next board meeting. So she indicated that she and her students would be interested in doing that. This is an issue that goes beyond CV. We are hearing from CV, but in connecting with each one of the principals, they did admit that not all of their restrooms have it. They did address, as Barbara indicated, that they can access it differently through the nurse's office, but that doesn't put us into compliance. And so a couple of years ago, Mr. Acuna did bring it up and Victor began to implement, but the restocking became the issue immediately. And so instead there were alternative solutions made, but clearly they don't meet the needs that our students are sharing. So we are returning to the table to identify what is going to get us in compliance, but more importantly, as Ms. Vargas indicated, what's the kind of culture that we're trying to create at our schools. So we are responding to it, and we will be working on it until we get it right.
Anybody else? We good? Again, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. We will make sure that the written comments get to all the board members, and then we will see you all on the next board meeting. So thank you all for coming. Did you have any other written comments for anything else?
None other.
Okay, I have one more speaker, Caroline Lascano Garcia. I apologize, we had to finish that one first.
Okay.
So it's a little difficult for me to talk. I have thyroid disease and it interferes. I'm having a little flare right now. Good evening, board members, trustees, and members of the public. My name is Caroline Lascano Garcia. This is the second time I address this school board regarding my concerns and disappointment with the current administration at Coachella Valley High School. The first time I gave a generalized situation in order to paint a picture of how administration's decisions and actions would affect families and ultimately students. Today, I'm here to give my personal experience with the current administration and why I have been so vocal for change. On October 5th, 2023, Socorro Sanchez denied me the ability to drop off my daughter's homework. Just minutes after I had left campus from dropping her off in the morning. I told her this practice was misleading and gave no indication that she would be including iPads and homework. I finally expressed to her that it was going to interfere with my daughter's academic performance, but she still refused to allow me to drop it off. So I left campus. After speaking to Dr. Michael Williams, I had a meeting with Mrs. Socorro Sanchez and Mrs. Mayer regarding what had occurred with the deliveries. Mrs. Sanchez told me that the district knew she would be including educational materials in the no deliveries to students. She told me that our student trustee knew that it would be included in the no deliveries to students. Finally, she told me that all of you board members knew that educational items would be included in the no deliveries to school for students before you approved the practice. If this is true, the problem with having like-minded people not have says in this is that if all of you agreed that that was okay and no one had an issue with it, it took one person, me, to file a complaint to prove all of you wrong. So I'm asking you now to please address the administration and their practices moving forward. I asked you before, I don't know if it was done or not, but again, I've reached out to Ms. Francis, Dr. Esparza, and asked her to address Socorro Sanchez with her parent focus group. There isn't fair opportunity at Coachella Valley High School for parents to give their opinion. So I'm asking you to please help us in addressing these matters. Again, I apologize, I'm having a flare. I can't speak that well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Where are we? Lost it. Okay, next up is our student trustee report. That would be you.
Hello. Okay, I would like to get us started with CVHS. Their ASB is currently working on their winter pep rally to work on their spirit for the winter sports, and they will be hosting throughout the month of February middle school visits and tours of their campus. As for their programs, their AVID program currently has trained AVID seniors to begin mentoring self-selected AVID freshmen this semester. These seniors will be checking on their respective freshmen on a weekly basis, and they will discuss grades, goal setting, spreading advice, and creating a safe social setting at school to build relational capacity, as well as their ASB and Young Women Empowerment are planning and hosting a student-led Mobius conference on April 18th in collaboration with Palm Springs High School. Moving on to West Shores, we would like to give them a shout out to their boys basketball team for their win against Calexico Mission yesterday, scoring 43 against 42, and wishing them best of luck to their girls and boys soccer teams set against Borrego Springs tomorrow night. Their ASB is currently working on fundraisers to host a jaripeo dance on February 23rd, which is innovative. And their lean crew has recently rewarded their freshmen for having a 13% increase in having grades C's and above. Moving on to DMHS, our counseling department is currently working on student graduation requirement meetings. They're meeting individually with each student and sending letters home. And they're also focusing deeply on the Dreamer and FAFSA applications, providing workshops to all seniors. And they're also having individualized course requests and working on registration for next year's classes. As for our athletes, even though boys and girls soccer comes to an end along with wrestling and basketball, we would like to congratulate our boys soccer team for making it to CIF playoffs and some of our wrestling team members as well. As for our ASB, you were updated earlier with the innovations that we're trying to bring in, and we're also really excited to see that we're receiving our senior purchase to give out to our students, as well as our tickets for our senior trip to Disney this year. As for our programs, AVID continues to work on grade level college trips. Yesterday, actually, our 10th graders were able to go to UCR, and our 11th graders are expecting a trip to UCR as well on the 8th of the same month. Puente will have on Saturday, their 9th graders attend a regional freshman leadership conference in Cal State LA. And we would like to congratulate their puentista, Karen Magaña, for being selected Student of the Month of the Riverside County Office of Education. All academies are currently in recruitment, and we are proud to see that 215 9th graders and 10th graders have chosen a program, and that there's a very high interest in our Green Academy. We're also very proud to see that we have 43 students concurrently enrolled in COD courses. I also see myself with the need to communicate some concerns that I've heard from my student body in the past few weeks since I've been here. A very high concern recently has been our water quality. I've been receiving students coming to me and asking me if we could request a filter change for our water, as there seems to be suspended particles in our water, as well as perhaps before the warm season comes back, to have some sort of covering for our water, because our water gets so hot, like so hot during the summer, and we're not that far from that, as well as not being able to drink this water causes a lot of issues during physical education classes, since we do frequently have students that are finding themselves dehydrated and would rather buy water from the cafeteria, which they do sell to us. But it is a bit counterproductive to our Green Academy's goal of trying to reduce the plastic use in our school. We also have had, unfortunately, a lot of student complaints to get out of classes that have long-term subs. Currently, we only have 2 that we simply do not have a teacher at all. One is for an ELA course and another one is for a computer science course. And finally, our swim team is concerned whether they will have to use CV's pool again this year, as they did last year. They just started their season and they're not able to use their pool. That's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to board member reports. Board Member Arredondo, if you would.
Thank you, everybody, for for being here. To staff, thank you for all those that are addressing, the weather challenges that we're having. Thank you to our bus drivers that are still driving out there during this rain. I know some have to drive through the mud to get to their bus stops. Thank you to all the staff that have stepped up and help support some of the things that have to be done to make sure that our students are transported to and from school. So thank you for that. A couple of things that I've attended. Our GradCon, thank you to the special ed department for the invitation. Thank you to staff. It was good to be there. There was a lot of students there, a lot of potential employers there. It was good, making sure that we're making those connections for our students. I also got a chance to attend the ACES T-ball, and I had to leave because I tend to want to ref the game, and so I saw a forced out, and I called the forced out. So I apologize to them for that, but I know the rules, a little bit of the rules. But so I went there. I also went to the track meet at Desert Mirage High School that ACES had. Couldn't stay for the whole thing, but it was really neat to see some of the little kids running. I think Kinder and TK. So that was thank you for all the staff that put those events on. I know that goes beyond the day. And then thank you for Dr. Williams for acknowledging the winter sports. Thank you to our students who spoke today. Thank you to our parents who are here to share information with us. As a future board report, I would like to see data on where we're at, where our students are at that are credit deficient. I know I've been asking for this for a while now, and still haven't seen what the data looks like. And so I really want to see where we're at in terms of the school district, where we're offering opportunities for our students to credit recovery, and then how do we fix that for the future. And I'd like to also see our plan for the summer. I know that we are going to invest $9 million at the K through 12 park, and I know that there won't be any summer school at the school sites, but I want to know what the plan is so that we're well ahead before summer starts. So those are my two requests. One, can we see some data on where our students are at currently, and how many are on track to graduate, and how many need that extra support? I did get a couple of calls about tutoring at the elementary schools. I guess our classes are full. It's not that we don't offer it, but they're not able to get enough teachers to stay after school. So I think there's a mixed messaging there. I think there didn't stop tutoring. There's just not a teacher in that grade level to offer tutoring. So I just like to see if we can send out a message and communicate with our community. So with that, I'd just like to say thank you. Thank you for everybody here. Thank you for all that you're doing to better CVUSD. Those are my comments, Mr. President.
Thank you. Board Member Gonzalez had to leave. Board Member Garcia.
I just have a quick data request. I would like to see a request on how many long-term subs we have across the district. And then to our trustee's point, with water fountains with the refillers, how many do we have out in our schools that are the ones that are easier for the reusable water bottles? And then is there a plan, or can we get a plan to get more in our schools? There's certainly a push for that within our schools, and then within the greater public. So I'd like to see what that looks like, because there are monies for things like that. So just those reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Galarza?
Again. Thank you, everybody who's made it out. Come back to me. It'll come back to me.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Board Member Beth.
Good evening, everyone. So I look forward to hearing or seeing the presentation from the Young Women Empowerment Club on the agenda for the next board meeting. I know they had expressed wanting to and had issues with getting on the agenda, so I'm glad that they've connected with someone who can help them with that. I believe to the parents concerned here about dropping off things at CV High School, that had come up, we had talked about it. And my understanding was that there's reasons why that policy was put in place. It was never reviewed by us. So, I don't know that it was a vote that we had to take, but the principals acting in their, authority and discretion implemented those. But it is important that as a parent, if my child forgets their homework, I'm probably gonna wanna go and drop it off, or anything to do academically. If they forget their lunch money, maybe I'll be like, okay, your responsibility, right, or something. But when it comes to educational materials, I think we need to get it straight. It needs to be communicated to parents, implemented fairly. And if the parent here has not been allowed to drop off instructional materials for their child, I think that needs to be looked into. So thank you. And speaking of future items for the agenda, infrastructure dollars. I know that there are some infrastructure dollars available for our schools. I don't know if we have anybody on the team or somebody, right, that's looking and tracking. We used to have a consultant. I don't know if we still have them, who would look at grants for us. But I think, this is a time when there is some money available, and we definitely have infrastructure needs across the district. And we would probably, based on the 40% initiative that the Biden administration has, we would probably be highly competitive. So we should be looking at what dollars these are, and where the money is, and how we can apply for it. In terms of, to add to some of the data requests that my colleagues have already made, I would like to not just see where the numbers are in terms of graduation, but what the plan is. How many students are we already working with to help and make sure that they are going to be graduating? If they're sort of on the cuff, right, and there's something that we can do, it should be our priority to help our students be able to graduate. And there was another data piece that Ms. Garcia, you asked for, that I had. What other, you asked for some data on? Oh, yes. And on the long-term substitute question, I would like to know whether those are positions that we haven't been able to fill, or whether those are teachers that are on leave for any number of reasons. I think it's important to know the reason why we have some of the vacancies or long-term positions. So I would add that to the data request. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to ask for one minor request. I was driving by Toro Canyon Middle School, and there's a flickering light right on Avenue 66. So if we can take a look at that flickering light, and just make sure it's not flickering. I've gotten multiple calls from it, actually, so I had to go drive there myself just to check it out. So just wanted to request that.
I forgot one item, if possible.
You're done, right? Okay. Go ahead.
So I see a lot of our high school, CV high school students running like on Airport Boulevard, and that boulevard is very heavily trafficked by, big vehicles, aside from just when people are picking up students. And I don't know if there's been conversations maybe with the county about how we can increase the safety there. I know there are some of the, like not all of the streets have stops, for example, yet our students are running from CV High School all the way to Monroe. I don't know if they make it all the way to Madison, but at least I know they run all the way to Monroe Street. And there's at least one street that probably doesn't have a stop sign there. And plus they're running on the dirt and, you know, they're exposed to all the dust and things. So we have those 2x2s. Maybe something to discuss and see if we can talk to the county and, I mean, even some of our students about what would make it safer for them, because that street gets used quite a lot for just running practice.
I don't have any additional data requests, but I think the ones that were already requested are important. I just want to thank, I had the opportunity to also attend the GradCon as with my other hat. So I was there working, but it was really great to see all the staff and the students. Really appreciate Ms. Kennedy and the team and Mr. Nichols for putting that on. I think it's important that we oftentimes hold these like huge events to target all of our seniors and get them to, encourage them to pursue higher education or trade or something beyond high school. But I think having something targeted for students who have a disability, I think was really important to see because there are opportunities that are very supportive for our students. And so I just really appreciate staff having kind of that foresight to think about how do we create opportunities for those students that sometimes I think get lost in some of the bigger events. And so I really wanted to appreciate staff for doing that. Thank you.
All right. First of all, thank everyone who came today, all the students that.
I only mentioned the ones that have not been filled up. That's all I wanted to mention.
Okay. Just kind of yell, do something, and get my attention. I'm good over here. All right. Anybody else? Last chance. No, we're all good. As I was saying, first of all, let me thank all the students that came today, the athletes, the students that came to testify, and I can go into my frustration about that, but I won't because most of you already know 2 years ago we had this discussion, so that frustration is a long other conversation for another day. Also, thank you for all the requests of the information that we've been asking. I know some of it has been asked before, and we need to start getting a handle on that. I also went to the T-ball tournament. I thought it was really cool. We had to remind the parents that this is T-ball. This isn't the World Series. Sometimes they get a little excited, but again, it was nice to see lots of families out there. And again, those tournaments get hundreds of parents during the day out there, and again, it gives them an opportunity to get away from everyday grind and just have fun with their kids and other parents and talk with other parents and share about what's going on. So I just wanted to acknowledge all of those. And I know they're having a basketball tournament this weekend at Toro Canyon. We also have a health fair, resource fair, I believe it is. It'll also be at Desmarash, correct? On Saturday as well. So if those of you can participate, maybe swing by for a little bit. With regards to the roads, actually the roads around around CV High School or City of Coachella, which I know we've had conversations with them a little bit about that, but we can do another 2x2. And then the roads extending are obviously the county. So we can have, I am not on the county 2x2, I'm on the city ones. So we'll make sure we'll schedule that. Whoever's on the county one, we can ask to set up a 2x2 for the county group. I'm not sure who's on that. It's not me. So we can go ahead and address that. Also, looking forward, we had already talked and make sure that the students are going to present at the next board meeting. That will be on the agenda when with that. So just in the lieu of time, again, thank you all, everybody who came today. Thank my colleagues for asking for good reports and stuff, and just keep moving forward. So thank you. Superintendent, do you have your report?
Yes, I'll keep it short. One is I just want to thank our staff for how the day was handled, because of the work at our school sites by our teachers and our administrators, and also our staff in maintenance and operations. Security, there was minimal disruption. A couple of programs needed to be modified, but for the most part, all after-school programs continued as normal. So thank you for that. The work in the LCAP continues. So this is to encourage parents and community members to join the meetings at each one of our elementary schools. A schedule has been published to ensure that as the roadshow for the LCAP goes about, that there is enough input to actually draw conclusions about what is working and not working within our LCAP to support that, coupled with the priorities that the district has identified over time, that this is a great opportunity between 24 and 20 years, 2024 and 2027 to modify that and actually get ourselves really in a good place around the LCAP. Congratulations to the boys and girls soccer team for winning the DVL title. Unfortunately, Mr. Galarza, but what's really exciting is that both number 1 and number 2 are CVUSD, CVUSD schools, as well as the wrestling team, both boys and girls, and so they will be going to the CIF playoffs. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to Ms. Kennedy, Mr. Nichols, and the other staff that supported the GradCon. Over 300 students attended this particular GradCon and provided great exposure. It was great seeing Ms. Vargas at the table for COD. And thank you, Mr. Arredondo, for being there. So it was great. So that's all I have, Mr. Acuña. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on, item 8, presentations. Dr. Williams is going to give us a short presentation on, I emphasize short, presentation on our financial literacy for high school students.
All right. You guys will get me all set up here. You see it on your board? Coming up. Okay, great. So tonight again, financial literacy for all students, CVUSD, high school students. So the financial literacy must know those big impact topics. Income, you see them there, income, budgeting, banking, starting a business, investments, credit, insurance risk, and paying for college. And then we have all the units underneath that. And so those are the big topics that the financial literacy kind of standards that are starting to be developed for the state of California that's out there. So we're ahead of that curve. We have implemented several classes already. They are in place. A couple of them have been in place for years. But I wanted to give you a look at a 4-year plan for students at this point. So we have 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. So at this point, iMath 1, all freshmen and those who are bouncing back into iMath 1 for the 23-24 school year, that those topics have been implemented into that iMath 1 program. Students can also take some of the other elective classes. We have the CTE elective classes, entrepreneurship, world of work, business math, and green energy. So in their 10th grade year, we're looking at iMath 2, launching that. We're getting the team together to look at financial applications inside the iMath 2 program. And then looking at the iMath 3, launching that in the 25-26. We do have the personal finance. We have that approved. That's an A through G class that is in the elective class. So personal finance. And then we have financial literacy. Several sections. That has taken off this year. We designed it last year. We put it into place this year. For seniors struggling with mathematics, this will be there because we need 3 years to graduate from CVUSD, and that class is the students enjoy it, the teachers are enjoying it. I know I've presented on that before. We had some videos on that. So that class is going really, really well. So that could be a 4-year program. So thinking about that as we look for financial literacy for all students. So if there's a kind of a way that we could say students will be financially literate by 12th grade and so putting this together and talking to several individuals about this and the teachers that are in there, students, if they receive a C or better in iMath 1 and iMath 2, iMath 3, we would say They received those applications within those classes, and we would say that they would receive that, they'd be financially literate, leaving our CVUSD. So the other way is students receive a C or better in the math financial literacy class. So they'd be taking that class. They'd be fulfilling kind of that encouragement for the financial literacy. Students receive in the same thing, personal finance class. And then we also have the C or better in many of the CTE classes, the entrepreneurship, the world of work, business math, or green energy and environment. So that'd be for our current students. So starting with the class of 2027, we could say that because they're freshmen at this point, and then they have the IMath 2 and IMath 3 by the time they graduate. So 2027 would be our freshman class. And then we have to make sure that we have several students that always come into our program. So we'd have to set up, make sure that we have a system for those who are coming in their sophomore year, junior year, senior year. So students transferring in second semester of their senior year, we'd put them into the financial literacy class, personal finance, or the CTE financial-based course. So we have a plan for that. And then these next couple slides, just wanted to give you a little bit more of the topics in IMath 1, IMath 2, IMath 3 that we were implementing. And so that would be applying it when the math topics hit, that's when we can insert those financial literacy applications there. And then in the career tech ed programs, we had the entrepreneurship. We had the topics there, world of work, great class, and then the business, math, green energy class. That's a new class going really, really well. And so that's be the great topics there, the taxes, employment, loans, credit, starting a business, investments. And then the financial literacy class. We have that as a math credit, and then we have personal finance elective credit. And the financial literacy class is also at LAFA, and so we're implementing that at La Familia. Going really well. Students are really enjoying that class, and teachers are really enjoying that class. Really kind of getting a new energy with that class. So things are going well. So this is where I put it back on in questions with your thoughts. We've had some great discussions in the curriculum committee. So we've had board members in there. I gave them this presentation. I kind of tweaked it a little bit based on the feedback that we came with that. So with that committee, they're looking to bring it to you, bring it in your thoughts on the next steps, so we can really secure what steps for CVUSD for financial literacy.
Any questions from the board?
So there's many times here where you say encourage, so it's not a requirement yet. And was that, I mean, I know there was a new bill, right, asking for financial literacy to be taught in public schools. Does that make it a requirement just for us to offer it, but not a graduation requirement?
Great question. So I did some research on that. So CDE in their bills that was going through, that bill actually has, from what I've seen in the CDE website, is that they've kind of couched it. They've put it as inactive. May of 2023. So it was moving through, and then all of a sudden it became inactive. So May of 2023, and I don't know what that is at that point. So it is not a graduation requirement, but it kind of in an indirect way, California said in their econ classes. So everybody, we have taken econ classes. In econ, there's several topics in econ that has the financial literacy. So in that class, that is a state standard that students are receiving. But we're going above and beyond that.
The other question is whether any of our classes that we're offering are at the level where they would meet an A through G requirement outside of like an elective, just the rigor of the classes.
Yes, they're all A through G. The only one that is not is the financial literacy one. We wrote that, but the students really struggle. We're going to write that to make it A through G. I wanted to get it 1 year in there because all the other financial literacy classes that are A through G is significant high mathematics. It's crazy math. And so there wasn't an example for us out there at this point, but we are, so I wanted to implement it, and then we are going to now turn it because we're going to write that thing and we're going to be the example that's out there.
Thank you.
Great questions.
I think with the last, if I recall, it was mentioned that the curriculum and making it an A through G was a challenging, like very challenging, like
Yes.
there was
Yes.
concerns about students being able to pass. Is that, correct me if I'm wrong?
Correct. Yep.
I think that's something to think about, as we're looking.
Yep.
I believe our students are super smart.
Yeah.
And we should expect that they'll be interested enough. I mean, financial literacy could be, right, the biggest difference between living in poverty or making, right decisions that are going to get
I
you
agree.
earnings and money. So you
Yeah.
make it relatable to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe our kids can learn
Yeah.
those concepts.
Yeah. So that's why I want to take what we're doing right now and then throw it through there. And I think the class that we're teaching is an A through G. They just didn't have an example of it yet. So that's why we had to roll it.
Dr. you want to say something real quick?
It's really important also to note that that this is a progression. Because if the issue is the math, it's not the concept. The kids get the concept. It's the
Yes.
arithmetic.
Yep.
So it's important to note that in the sequence that you have, it's a progression.
Correct.
That when the state actually makes it mandatory, those students will be ready because they've gone through the progression of courses. So that's really important because they can't get it. It's just about being taught.
Yep.
The math.
Yep. And professional development for the teachers.
Yeah, as far as it being A through G, if that's something that we're going to create, that we feel is going to work with, my understanding was these were the students that we're trying to lift up
Yeah.
and make sure that they have a math class that they can pass to graduate from high school. The students who are worried about A through G, in my opinion, have very specific sequences of math that they want to target if they want to be competitive for college, right? So this is not to say that there aren't the students who may find later on that, oh, I'm able to go to a four-year university and this all works for me. But in general, the students for the math pathway have very specific targets that they're trying to hit. So this, I'm comfortable with this being a level where we're trying to get a student to meet the math requirement for graduation.
Awesome.
So that's something that I think is
And they'll get that in the iMath 1, iMath 2, iMath 3.
sure,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, for your work on this. I know that unfortunately our colleague isn't here who really has been pushing. We've all actually, as a board, we all know that financial literacy is important. And I think that's the reason why you said you would bring forward a resolution where we make a commitment as a board to make financial literacy a priority in our district. And we have made it a priority, but that we now, through a resolution, create, continue to better our financial literacy courses. I think the question during the curriculum committee was, do we make it another graduation requirement when students are already struggling? Now, I know that students will rise to the level of expectation. I just want to make sure that we do it in a way where students have the opportunity, right? Where they have every opportunity to engage in financial literacy, but it's not also going to hinder them if they're struggling with financial literacy.
Right.
But the other thing we talked about too is that the state eventually will make this a high school graduation. So we know that ultimately it's going that way, and I think the progression in which it's going, I think we're at a good start and we're at a good point.
Great. Thank you.
Any other board members have questions?
I think Dr. Esparza.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys got any more questions. No, good?
No.
So as you said, it becoming a graduation requirement. So right now the conversation and some of the meetings that I've had at the state level is that 2027, 2028 school year will be the first pilot for graduation requirement. It's going to be a 3-year pilot. So I think we're ahead of the game now.
Yeah. I really appreciate here too the entrepreneurial skills, and I think it's really sort of a very traditional approach if we say this is going to be for the type of students who are less likely to go to college. I mean, I think a class like that would serve every student, whether they decide to go to college. It should not be more difficult or less difficult. I think some kids get disengaged because they get disengaged. But I don't see our traditional method of looking at math producing enough like people of color who are going into finance, right? Or people of color who understand about, investing in bonds or whatnot. So I would disagree that that it's a different need that we're trying to meet with the A through G typical students and our overall students. We shouldn't see it that way. I think it's really an opportunity to produce more, especially for me, people of color who feel very comfortable and are savvy on how to use money, how to look at return of investments, and explore careers in finance that pay really well.
And that's that personal finance class. So we definitely have that class in there. So that would be the G level, elective level. And that's a phenomenal class.
Any other questions? We're good? Okay, moving on. Item 8.2, again, Dr. Williams, modification to graduation honors recognition status started with the class of 2029.
Okay, so this one is an exciting presentation because it's dealing with our, let me see if I got it here. Sorry about that. So this is dealing with an exciting time of graduation. Seniors are looking forward to that. There's so much emotion going on in their senior year, looking forward to just not only graduation, the career, the colleges, and things like that. So it's a wonderful time to celebrate. And so in the graduation ceremonies, we have various elements inside the graduation ceremonies. One, it's beautiful that at the tennis garden. It's great that we continue to hold them there. They have speeches, we have faculty distinguishing guests, the diplomas, the tassels, the graduation caps, the throwing of the caps, and so the achievements of the students at that point. So currently, a student academic honor. So our current high school graduation ceremony, we recognize the high achievement of in a couple ways. So we use class rank at this point, and I believe that previously we weren't, or we had a hybrid in there. And so, but currently we have 4 years. We recognize one student with the highest GPA, and that would be valedictorian. And then the second highest student would be salutatorian. And so we only have those two high recognitions. And then we have the top 10 recognition, and those who are 4.0 or higher, they dress in white. So great recognition with that. So that would be for the students 4.0. Now, our current board policy, I brought it out. If you don't mind me reading this at this point, just to slow it down for us. So to honor the superior academic achievement, graduation ceremonies shall include recognition of valedictorian and salutatorian. Honors at graduation be determined by the end of the first semester of the senior year. Complete honors and advanced placement, approved college and universities courses be factored into the grade point average, utilizing the weighting scale only for the purposes of determining valedictorian, salutatorian, top 10, and senior scholar. Class rank. Uniform method of the calculating weighted GPA will be used by all comprehensive high schools. So that's our board policy at this point. Now, our neighboring district honor process, they had just recently made that change. So Desert Sands, and they made a change, and just that top paragraph there, starting with the graduating class of 2020, and this was introduced about 4 years prior to, so it took a little time to go through. So now they honor superior academic achievement. Graduation ceremonies should use the Latin system of recognition, summa cum laude, GPA 4.0 and above, magna cum laude, 3.75 to 3.99, and then cum laude would be the GPA of 3.5 to 3.74. So making it a larger, more inclusive celebration. And so Desert Sands moved in that direction. I talked to the colleague in my seat at Palm Springs. They're also wanting to move to the Latin system. So they're moving kind of along with our conversation over here too. So that would be the neighboring district. And so putting together just a possible new recognition process. So that'd be starting with the graduated class of 2029. Seems like a long way away, but that gives us enough time for communication. So that's our current 7th graders at this point. So we think of those 7th graders, yes, you are going to graduate, and you're going to be the class of 2029. So it'd be the same kind of wording that Desert Sands has to honor the superior academic, summa cum laude at the 4.0, magna cum laude at the 3.75 and 3.99, and cum laude at the 3.5 and 3.74. Thoughts, questions?
So this would be getting rid of the valedictorian and salutatorian?
Correct.
I have questions, if you're done.
Yeah, that was.
Have you received any input from our students about this change?
No, I thought I'd kind of bring it to you guys first and kind of go from there.
I would be interested to hear from our students. I'm personally attached to being the valedictorian and very clearly knowing that I'm number one, and then recognizing everyone else. So maybe we have a combination where we still have a valedictorian, right? But we also honor everyone else who achieved. But there's one person that got like the highest. So in that case, I think we still have a valedictorian. But I do like the idea again of like maybe combining it so that we can then recognize the summas and the rest. That's my just personal attachment.
Anybody else? Maybe our student might want to comment?
Yeah.
I feel like it should be recognized.
Should the valedictorian?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think so because I do find it to be a gratification that should be. Would that also get rid of top 10?
No. Well, I'm sorry. The summa cum laude would get rid of the top 10.
Then
You would
yes,
be in the.
then I think I would personally be against it.
So ranking still happens, like you still know what your ranking is, that no one can take that away from you as far as that goes, and within the class and all of that. So it's just, I feel like this is just moving to what most colleges do,
Right.
4-year universities, and it's just kind of continuing that. So it's not, it's just a change, but it wouldn't have to be a change that happens with you. It'd have to be a change that happens with younger siblings, right? So I think it's fine. It's what universities do.
Yeah.
And if we're wanting them to think along those lines, then hey. I'm fine with it being a blended though, valedictorian, salutatorian. And again, the ranking, your ranking and all of that still exists. It doesn't disappear. It's just now there's a bigger group. So I think I like it.
Great.
As far as that goes.
Okay.
You wanted to say something else?
But then again, the Latin way of having magna
Summa cum laude.
and laude and these different terms, I think is a bit more inclusive than top 10, right? Because you might have more, you might have 20 folks who have a 4.0 or higher, right?
Right.
And they deserve a recognition,
Mhm.
but they might not be able to make it to top 10 because of how competitive it was,
Mhm.
right? But having that magna cum laude on, next to your name as you graduate,
Yeah.
will give it that recognition
Mhm.
it deserves, or
Mhm.
they deserve.
Scholarship money.
Mhm.
So I've been to Desert Sands graduation as well every year, and I know that they do allow for the valedictorian to say a speech, but they just say, hey, this is top student, makes a presentation, but they don't have every student, or if they were to have a tie, they don't have every student speak, right? But I do agree with sort of maybe knowing the top two, but still identifying that the summa cum laude,
Right.
and the differences here. And I know we have a valedictorian in the room, right? Mrs. Mahus McLeod, right? That's Coachella Valley High School. So I would like to hear her opinion as well. But I wasn't salutatorian or valedictorian, but I think that it also improves in case there is a tie, and I know there's always a discussion because there's this competitiveness, right, that students have, and it's gonna happen. But I like that it puts everybody, sort of where, okay, you're summa cum laude or magna cum laude or
Yeah.
cum laude. So I would kind of support the blended sort of.
So,
one.
do you want to
Let
say
me call-
something, or should I just get everybody angry all at once right now?
I loved being valedictorian, but I had that goal since seventh grade. I was valedictorian at John Kelly, seventh grade, and CV High School, 1983. Very competitive, and you're right. You always know your ranking.
But not everyone else. So we need
Right,
to announce it.
right. Not everyone else. So I would be biased. I'm not going to say anything.
So
one of the items, if you don't mind me just hitting, one of the items is a little bit tricky because kids can take different paths, and it's so hard to compare apples to apples. Because if they go through maybe a Puente lane, or this one goes through the CTE lane, and they don't have maybe as many honors classes here. And so it's really tricky to compare a student going through their different lanes, because we want to encourage them to take the path of their passion. So if they take the path of their passion, maybe there's not as many honors classes, but this one took all these honors classes. And so that's the tricky part of saying, yes, you're the number one. In today's, it's a little bit different in today's because we have so many different CTE than we did back not a couple years ago.
So, do you want to say something else?
No, I mean, I was 6, so I don't know if I have a say here, but I
That was 6.
no, I think it's great that we recognize, like you said, there's maybe more students that we're able to recognize with expanding this, and maybe for those that do, did work hard, right, to get to that. Trying to think of a blended might be good. But yeah, maybe getting the student input would be great too.
Awesome.
You know what? I have to
10.
advocate for the rankings, such as like the 80s, because that's where I was at. Like a 3.4, 3 point something, and in college you get on the dean's list for having a 3.0 or above, right? So I think those deserve some recognition too. I would have loved to have some recognition as a dean's list student.
However, you also get in the dean's honors list if it's higher. So
Yeah, right, right.
We're all good. Anybody else want to add on before I?
I think our student trustee
before I
wants to.
get everybody angry.
I don't think we should be scared of students being competitive. I think the contrary. And I feel like things are gonna happen in life, and not everything is gonna work out how people always want it to work out. And I feel like even if there does happen to be conflicts, I feel that at the end, everything is a life lesson, and it's going to teach students. Not everything is gonna work out the way that someone wants it to work out.
Trustee Barbara decides tonight.
There you go.
So, actually, you kind of took some of what I was going to say. I am all for recognizing, I know we went from only the top 10 wearing white to everyone wearing white, but we identify the top 10. I don't mind adding on, which was in college, which is the 3 ranking systems. But at a certain point, if you keep going, you start diluting the whole purpose of what you're trying to do. I do believe in valedictorian and salutatorian because I, as one person, think that the downfall of most of our stuff started when we started having participation trophies in sports. Because it gives people the impression that if they just do okay, that they're doing okay. To your point, they need to understand that the world is competitive. There are winners and there are losers, and not loser in the sense that your life is destroyed, but that you have to work hard. And I think some of the problems that we've had in society, not to pick my big soapbox here, but you guys have heard this before, is the fact that we make it too easy. You made the comment about, well, the math is super hard. Our kids will get there. I'm not worried about our kids. We, not them, lower the bar because we say, oh, pobrecitos. Oh, they come from this kind of a community. Oh, they're people of color. Oh, they're women. Oh, women, we lower the bar for them. They don't lower the bar for themselves. And I think we got to stop doing that. And again, this is a competitive world, and I believe that we should keep that. Again, at a certain point, like you said, the colleges have the 3 rankings. I'm okay with that. But now we start adding the 3.0 and then the just barely passing, oh, we should give them an award for just barely passing. No, it starts to dilute the whole process, I feel. So I agree with you. Not everything goes well in your world. There was a second place to Miss McLeod over there, right? And I'm sure that person was not happy. But again, that just makes that person work harder, I think, and not necessarily in a bad way. So I would kind of support that. And again, my participation trophy kind of theory, people need to know that you have to work hard, and just because you show up, you're going to get a trophy doesn't mean that that's how life is. And I think the earlier we start telling them that they have to work hard, that they have to practice, that they have to do all this stuff, I think the better. So I would not be in support of eliminating it, and I would only support going into that 3-tier, which is already recognized by most universities. I think that would be fine with me. But again, I don't know, just me. The whole thing happens when you show up and you get an award. No, that's not how it works. You have to work and work hard to get to that level. So it's kind of where I'm at.
Just don't call it the blended model. Okay? So we just won't call it the blended model, though. But we'll use the 3 ranking systems and the
Yeah,
valedictorian.
that's already an academic system, which is accepted already. So, but yeah. All right, anything else? Get off my soapbox now. All right, thank you, Dr. Williams. Okay, moving on. Item 9.1, Dr. Valentino, approval to change the date and location of the Thursday, February 22nd regular board meeting date to Thursday, February 15th, 2024. This is due to the fact that many board members and staff will be attending CABE. So that was the need for this particular change. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 10.1, Principal de la Peña requesting approval for, that's right. Purchase for Follett for library books for Valley View Elementary School.
So move.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have any questions on this?
Is there a reason why it has an asterisk?
The asterisk is used when, once published, there was a change either because they forgot to include the attachment or because there was an error in the math, or for example. And just so that you know and the
That it
public knows that the asterisk was a change.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee?
Aye.
Motion carries. 11.1, Mr. Pais, approval to transition pre-existing cameras from 6 sites, including the district office, to the generic platform. This is for the IT, over into IT.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 12.1, approval of the tentative agreement between California School Employees
You missed
Association.
one.
Did I miss one? Oh, I'm sorry. 11.2, Mr. Emerson, authorization to retrofit 9 buses with air conditioning.
So move.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee? Aye. Motion carries. Sorry. 12.1, Assistant Superintendent McLeod, approval of the tentative agreement between the California School Employees Association and its Coachella Valley Unified Chapter 109 and Coachella Valley Unified School District dated January 12th, 2024.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee? Aye. Motion carries. Item 12.2, McLeod, approval of revised job description for fleet services supervisor, again with an asterisk.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second, as long as they surplus all the excess vehicles that are in transportation. I second. Go ahead.
Okay. Not sure what that was, but okay. Any questions on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee? Aye. Motion carries. Item 13, the consent calendar. Consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board considers the motion unless members of the board or staff request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar, in which event the items will be considered separately. The superintendent, assistant superintendent of educational services, assistant superintendent of business and finance, and assistant superintendent of human resources recommend the approval of all consent calendar items. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second,
I have a motion and
with
a second.
respect
Does anyone
to
want to pull
anybody
anything?
pulling an item.
Huh?
I said, I'll second with respect to anybody pulling an item.
Anybody want to pull something? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee? Aye. Motion carries. No closed session. 18.2, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Student trustee? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 9:40. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. For that,